Just because you've got a bad knee doesn't mean you can't train your lower body. So we're gonna give you the 5 exercises that you can be doing if you've got a bum knee.
Let's go.
What's going on? Coach Brian here with Criticalbench. This guy, maybe look familiar. He is with Gorilla Zen Fitness. Blake Bowman
What's up, guys?
in the flesh. I'm excited for him to be jumping on this video with us. Make sure you go check out his channel. You can click that banner up there to check out the Gorilla Zen channel. Got some awesome stuff here, just like we do on Criticalbench. And if you've got a bum knee, you're not out of the game. You should be sidelined a little bit, but you're not out altogether. You still can train your lower body. You still can get some great strength gains. You can still build muscle. You can still improve everything. I hate when people think like, oh, I've got an injury, I can't go to the gym today. My back hurts, I can't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, if you live your life like that, you're never going to be doing anything, really.
Yeah.
You know, especially as you get older, it's kind of part of what, it's part of the aging process, man. But
yeah.
You can do it, you can age gracefully, you can set your body up so that it can heal through those things, or you could just experience those things and quit altogether, which is not the right answer.
It's funny, I tell some of my clients and even family members, I'm like, think of exercise as you're being proactive, but you're also being reactive too. You're thinking like, what if I didn't have this strength foundation? How worse would my injury be? I mean, I remember doing adventure races and my ankles, I would sprain an ankle, but I'm like, imagine what the recovery would have been like if I didn't train my ankles or balance. Anyways, going off topic there, but just know that there are alternatives for you if you've got a bum knee. Maybe it's from an ACL tear, maybe you've dislocated kneecap, maybe it's just excessive tightness or some scar tissue. It doesn't really matter because all these exercises work with you. They don't hurt you. They're actually gonna help you strengthen your lower body.
Yeah.
And I know you love the glutes. You love feeling the glutes. You love looking at the glutes. You love training the glutes.
Feeling the glutes is my favorite part.
Yeah, so lower body, obviously it's from the waist down.
Yep.
Well, if somebody has a bad knee, what do you go to first? Like as the number one way to train around that?
So first of all, there's this theory by Gray Cook, who's a physical therapist, called the joint by joint theory, which describes the relationship that one joint has to the muscles and joints directly above and below it, okay? So when we look at the knee, whenever there's issues with the knee, almost always, unless we're talking about trauma, like if your knee was just like, you got hit by a car or something like that, we know exactly what caused the injury in the knee, right? It was that trauma from the car. However, if you slowly kind of experience knee pain over time, it gets worse, it's a chronic thing, more likely than not, there's something going on above and below the knee, in the ankle, in and up in the hip. So we're not really gonna be talking too much about the ankle today, but a lot of times people are missing mobility in their ankle, okay? So doing ankle mobilizations, doing calf stretching, that can actually help to bring stability to the knee. So always look at the ankle, look for the thing beneath the thing. And again, with the knee, ankle is oftentimes a big contributor. If it's stiff, it causes hypermobility to develop in the knee, and over time that can degenerate the tissues in the knee. Today, what we're gonna be focusing mostly on though, is the glutes, okay? So those are the muscles above the knee, and these are critical to maintain and keep strong because they actually stabilize the knee. When they contract, they bring stability to the knee, they control the motion of the knee, and most areas that become injured in the body are not stiff, they're hypermobile, right? They move too easily and there's too much uncontrolled motion occurring there, okay? And this is kind of how the knee oftentimes becomes injured. Usually the ankle becomes stiff, that contributes to, that hypermobility in the knee, and then the glutes are weak, and that also contributes to that instability, hypermobility of the knee as well. And those two things working from above and below the knee are what kind of predispose it to becoming injured. So today we're gonna show a lot of different exercises that really target those glutes, which is gonna help you to bring more stability to the knee.
Yeah, so what he said. That was perfect. And that great illustration of the knee is not always the culprit. It's kind of like the bystander that gets the brunt of the force. The glutes, the ankles, even when people are dealing with the lower back, sometimes it's coming from the neck or the knee or the hip. So
or the feet,
you have to look away from that, the problem area. Strengthen your glutes. I'm not saying it's gonna fix your knee pain because there's still other things you have to address. But if you're starting to strengthen your glutes, you're probably gonna gain more stability, gain more strength, and then you're gonna be able to start rehabbing or recovering from your injury or trauma or things like that. So let's get into it. I know that was a long intro, but hopefully you learned a thing or two about why we're doing these exercises. Yep. So we're not showing you any squats. We're not showing you any lunges. Those are knee dominant exercises. These are glute dominant exercises, and we love the glutes here at Criticalbench. I know you love the glutes over at Gorilla Zen. And in fact, hang on, I'm gonna show you something real quick. So there we go. Unlock your glutes. Hey, this is our product that we wrote, or we created. If you're not down for the Blu-ray copy, yeah, this is old school, but a lot of people still are old school. I love all of you old schoolers out there. Print. So this is an actual follow-along glute training program. If you want more information on an actual structured glute training program, underneath this video, click the link in the pinned, or the pin link in the comment section. That's gonna take you over to that page. You can learn more about that. But let's get started. Hip thrust, my favorite glute exercise. Is it yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yours. I'm gonna show it. He's gonna explain what I'm doing. And again, this is just a body weight exercise. You can implement resistance, you can do a machine, but we're just showing you how to set this up properly to save your knees. Here we go.
And keep in mind, Brian and I are not doctors, so this is not medical advice. So if you have any kind of medical issue going on, always consult your doctor before doing anything here. Right. But yeah, this is a basic hip thrust. What you're gonna do is you're gonna start with your back against a bench. You want your knees around 90 degrees like this. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna let your hips sink down, and then you're gonna bring them up. And that's the gist of this movement, this exercise. There's a couple nuances here that you want to pay attention to, okay? One thing is that you're using the bench just simply as like a fulcrum to get your body to basically move over, okay? You want to maintain a neutral spine when you're doing this. Keep a little bit of core tension, okay? Squeeze your abs as though you're anticipating a punch to the gut, okay? So keep them tight. That will help to protect the back while you're doing this. What you don't want to be doing is leaving your shoulders plastered up here and just letting your hips sink down, and you're getting all this back movement occurring, okay? See how when he does that, he's arching his back, okay? You want you kind of want to lean forward almost a little bit, and then lean, yes, like that, okay? We're keeping that neutral spine, keeping the core tight, really squeezing the glutes at the top of the motion, because the glutes are really gonna only contract at maximal capacity at end range hip extension, which is when your hips are at the top of that movement. So that's when you're gonna feel the glutes working the most, and that's really where you should be giving them a good squeeze.
And I love this exercise personally. I've been implementing the hip thrust in my routines for years now, and being a runner, my knees, I do everything I can to protect my knees, because running obviously breaks down the knees. So I need to still strengthen my knees, or strengthen my legs. So once I started implementing the hip thrust, I mean, I was hip thrusting, 300-400 pounds. Not once did I feel it in my knees. Lower back a little bit, that's just showing me that I had some excessive tightness going on my lumbar spine. But once I started doing the glute drive hip thrust, I'm like, man, there really is zero knee pain. I don't even feel my knees doing anything. Yeah. So I'm a living testimony that this exercise works. And obviously we put it in our program, Unlock Your Glutes, so check that out. Let's move right into the next one, the glute bridge. And before we do that, hip thrust can be done single leg or double leg. Single leg is a little harder, but if you have like a really bad knee, I would start with the double leg, but really focus your attention on using both legs evenly. Don't favor one side versus the other. Unilateral training, you're gonna see a big discrepancy between, say you have a bad right leg.
Yep.
Your right leg is gonna be, you're gonna be favoring that. You're gonna be mentally thinking like, I can't do this. So there is definitely gonna be some mental training that you're gonna need to take place in the single leg. So, but just keep that in mind that you can implement single leg versus double leg.
You can also progress this by adding weight to it.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a good point. So glute bridge, very similar to the hip thrust.
Yep. So this is, like Brian said, very similar exercise to the hip thrust. In fact, you're starting in a very similar position, and it's essentially the same movement. We're just omitting the bench. We're still extending the hips, okay? So the same principles apply. You lay on your back, posteriorly tuck that pelvis like a dog trying to tuck its tail between his legs. You want your knees at around 90 degrees when you're starting. And what you're gonna do here, keep that pelvis tucked underneath, keep your abs tight. You're just gonna push your hips up and squeeze the butt at the top of the motion, right where he is right now. And that's pretty much it, okay? Again, just like the first exercise that we showed you, when your hips are at the top of the motion, where Brian's are right now, that's when you're gonna be feeling the most glute contraction. So that's really when you should be thinking about squeezing the glutes the most, because that's the opportunity that you're gonna have to get the most contraction, to work those muscles the most. and subsequently, cause the body to respond by, adding more muscle fiber there and making the area stronger. So, that's it. This is something you can do without a bench. You can do it anywhere.
Moving right into the third exercise of this video, the stiff leg deadlift. Very simple exercise. You're probably thinking, well, what exactly is the stiff leg deadlift? What does it work? Well, it's hamstrings, glutes, lower back, a little bit of the adductors. I mean, it's just a good exercise.
Everything on the back side of your body,
yeah.
the posterior chain.
So I'm gonna show you, he's gonna tell you, and then we're moving on.
So you can either do this with weights or without weights. If you're just learning this as a movement pattern, you might want to just do it without weights. Just let your arms hang. But we're gonna do it with dumbbells today. You can also do it with barbell, other apparatuses. Apparati, is that a word?
Apparatanonymous.
Yeah. Well, basically to do this, you're gonna start with your feet about shoulder width apart. And what you're gonna do is, I want you to think of like a door hinge, okay? You're going to hinge from the hips by bending at the hips, just like Brian's doing. You're pushing your butt back, and you're keeping a slight bend in your knees, okay? That's very important. Despite the name of this, your legs aren't completely straight, okay? You want a very slight bend in the knee. That's actually very important to help the glutes contract properly. So slight bend in the knee, you're bending forward till you're about right there or so. Then you're coming up. And right at the top of the motion right there, you're squeezing the glutes very hard, okay? We've already talked about how your glutes contract, they work the most at end range hip extension, okay? That means when the hip is straightening out, okay? So your hip's straightening out the most at the top of this motion, which is when you're gonna feel those glutes contracting the most, okay? So squeeze the glutes at the top. This is basically it, okay? You're bending forward from the hips and you're coming back up. One thing that you wanna keep in mind when you're doing this motion is you wanna maintain a neutral spine as you're doing it, okay? None of that. You don't wanna be rounding forward from the back either, okay? So you want your back more or less straight as you're doing this, okay? No rounding. You don't wanna come forward too hard and lean back like that. You want your spine, like I said, in a straight, neutral position the entire time. Think of like a pop can, okay? Like a soda can, right? We call it pop in the Midwest where I'm from.
Yeah, not here.
Yeah, a soda can, right? That is what your body is. It's a cylinder. There's no kinks in it, okay? You're keeping it rigid and stiff the whole time. And all of this motion is occurring from the hips, okay? We don't want the back moving really at all.
Yeah, very simple exercise. The sky's the limit with this exercise. Progress with starting with body weight, add some dumbbells, barbells, you name it. Just it definitely is one of those exercises you gotta keep in your routine.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool, so let's move into the internal rotation of the hip. Now this one's a little more technical. This is more of like the functional movement expert coming out.
Yes.
This is not something that we just say, oh, go do this by yourself. And yeah, it'll take a little bit of practice, but we're gonna show you it because it's that powerful. So.
Yep. So, the glutes work primarily, the best motions of the hip that you can use to work the glutes are hip extension, which is pretty much everything we've shown so far.
That's this.
Yes, it's the hip angle increasing like that, okay? Another one is hip abduction, which is like side movements, lateral movements.
That's that upper booty.
Yep, we're gonna show you that in a minute. But another way to work the glutes, specifically the gluteus medius, which is a muscle that is back here, very important for people that keep this strong, is through internal rotation, taking the femur and rotating it inwards towards the midline of your body, okay? And this is kind of like a isolation movement, a very specific corrective exercise I like to have my clients do. You basically lay on your back, just like so. You're either gonna grab a resistance not a resistance band, a medicine ball or a foam roller, anything that you can just put between your knees like this, okay? And just like Brian has demonstrated, you're going to raise the ankle up in the air like this, okay? And now it might look to you like he's externally rotating or something like that, but he's not. His ankle is coming up, but if you look at what's happening at the femur, the leg bone here, it's turning in towards the midline, like I said. So what this is working is his gluteus medius, okay? This muscle right there, all right? And this is a great exercise to do to start to kind of isolate that muscle, get it to turn on, get a little bit of activation in there. I like doing this before I train legs. This also actually helps mobilize your hips and restore some internal rotation to the hips, which is something that a lot of people are missing. So you kind of get a double benefit from that movement. I really like that one a lot.
Yeah, it's a great exercise. It's one of those awkward exercises. You got to play around with it, figure out where you're feeling it, adjust it, and just use it. So I'm gonna get myself a set of mini bands. Blake is gonna tell you about his channel.
Oh, yes. Well, you guys know my name's Blake Bowman. I run Gorilla Zen Fitness. We do a lot of corrective exercise stuff on my channel. So like the exercise we just showed you, really the focus of my videos over there is helping people restore their joint mobility, their flexibility, fixing posture and muscular imbalances. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then check me out, Gorilla Zen Fitness. Make a lot of YouTube videos in here.
Click that banner up there. You can check out his channel. Cool.
Yep.
So mini bands, we actually have our own Strong by Design mini bands. I'll post a link underneath this video. If you need a set of mini bands, you can order some directly from us. But next one, it's a mini band step. It's actually a very popular exercise. I don't know if everybody knows exactly what it does, but just because they're like, oh, I saw somebody doing it, so I'll do it, or it's on Pinterest, so I got to do it. It's all over the place. But truthfully, the mini band lateral step, side step, mini step, whatever you want to call it, is a great glute exercise, especially if you've got bad knees.
Yeah.
So there's hundreds of different types of steps. I'm going to show you the most basic step is just literally, it's this, side to side.
Yep. And what we're doing here is we're abducting that hip too. We're taking the leg out to the outside, okay? And we're adding resistance using the band here. Frankly, any motion that's side to side with the hip is really going to kind of integrate some of these glute medius muscles that we're trying to isolate on both sides of the body. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's really not a lot of nuance to this exercise in particular, unlike the other ones that we showed you here today. Pretty much move side by side like this. You can keep going in one direction. There's a lot of ways you can change this one up.
Now, real quick, with the mini band, start light, and then you want to angle your toes. I like to angle your toes slightly in, because now you're actually getting some internal rotation of the femur, but you also want to make sure your knees are open. You're not doing this. You're keeping them open, turning in, because once you start turning in, you're going to hit that glute medius a lot better. You don't want to be doing this, because now you're going to be focusing more on your quad or your hip flexor. This it really does nothing for your glutes. Kind of gets you ready for
Good point.
Shortstop or I don't even know, goalie, for all those people who play sports. No, but seriously, soft bend in the knees. You've got a bum knee. You can still protect your knees while doing this. All different types of steps, forward, backwards. You can even integrate some rotation and stuff like that. So
you can even go back at like a 45-degree angle and incorporate some hip extension in with the side movement, right? So you're kind of like stepping back like that. That's a really good way to get some glute max activation in with that
hip extension. Yeah, again, so many different types of videos or exercises. We've got other videos that talk about mini bands. So that's it, 5 exercises for your body, lower body, if you've got bad knees. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I know you found this video helpful. And at the beginning of this, I talked about our program called Unlock Your Glutes. This thing right here, we have this available for you. If you're into the physical thing, the DVD with the book, great. If not, we have all digital stuff for you. So go underneath this video right now. I pinned a link in the comment section. So scroll down. You're going to see a link there. Click that link. Learn more about this product and how you can develop a rounder, stronger butt with our program. Other than that, hit that subscribe button, drop us a comment or question, and that's it. Have an awesome day.